Hey ladies, happy Friday. Trying to zoom in here and make sure that you can actually see my lips when I speak. But happy Friday, ladies. I hope everything's going great. It's been a very busy week for me, and I hope that your week has gone really well as well. And let me know how your week's gone in the comments. If you catch this live, go ahead, hashtag live. If you catch this on a replay, hashtag replay. But go ahead, drop in the comments. Let me know. Hey, Yasmin, go ahead, drop in the comments. Let me know how your week has gone. It's Friday. I don't know if you can see the little fever blister, but I've had quite the week, busy week, and my body complaining and telling me to rest. So I am looking forward to the weekend, and I will be getting some rest this weekend. But I am very happy with everything that I was able to achieve this week. I hope that you get to say the same thing. So go ahead, drop in the comments. Let me know. Hey, Dawn, let me know where you're watching from. Hey, Ellen, let me know where you're watching from. Let me know how your week has gone. Let me know what you achieved, what you hoped to achieve that you might be carrying over to next week. And feel free to drop your link in the comment and let's reconnect, get to know each other, engage over this live. And once again, I hope your week has gone great. Mine has gone well, talking about my goals, and I am looking forward to the weekend. Hashtag live if you're catching this live, and hashtag replay. Um, I am going to be spending the next few minutes talking about um, using social media um, as a marketing tool and being very intentional when we do that. This is part two. Last week, and if you missed last week's live talking about marketing with social media and being very intentional with how we do that. Checking the feeds, checking the video section, and you can catch that live. But this is part two of that. Last week, we focused on setting goals, making goals, and we talked about, or I talked about, when we go online and we're using social media as a marketing tool, we cannot be random about it. You can't just go spend 2 hours on Facebook or 10 hours on Facebook or 5 hours on Instagram or be random about should I have a LinkedIn account or an Instagram account. We cannot be random about it. We have to be very intentional and set goals as to what are we trying to achieve by being on social media and the amount of time we're spending and the campaigns we're running and everything we're doing. Is it helping us achieve what we're hoping to achieve, or will it help us achieve what we intend to? So we can't be random. You can't jump on social media just because everyone else is on Instagram or everyone else is on Facebook. You have to be very, very intentional. Just the same way as I encourage you, and I'm sure you encourage yourself to set goals for your business. You need to set goals for every aspect of your business. And so last week we talked about using social media as a marketing tool. You also set goals and be very intentional. Are you trying to drive traffic to your site? Are you trying to generate leads? Are you trying to establish your expertise or increase your brand visibility? What are your goals? What are you hoping to achieve by being on social media? And so when you're very clear on that and you have clarity, it will help you with the copies that you put out. It will help you with where you go and what you do and where you spend that time. So we do have to be very intentional and set goals when we're using social media as a marketing tool for our brand and for ourselves and our business. So that was a quick recap of what we talked about at part one last week. And you can, like I said, check the feed if you want to catch that on the replay if you missed it. And so today, I wanted to spend a few minutes talking about just three quick things. We talked about setting goals, being very intentional with why we're on social media and what we're trying to achieve. And today I wanted to add to that conversation and say, how do we execute this when we have our goals and we say, okay, this is what we're trying to achieve? How do we go about actually putting that into action and executing and making a plan? to actually achieve those goals. And so I'm just going to talk about three quick things that I've been thinking about and that I also have set in motion for my brand and my business that is helping me. And I am still learning and consciously working on it, but I have seen a marked difference and improvement. And so I wanted to share that with you and on how to implement those goals that you set yourself when you're using your social media marketing. And the first thing that I wanted to say is that make sure you know your platform. And when I say know your platform, I don't mean, oh, if you're on social media, that you understand everything about social media and all the new algorithms that Mark Zuckerberg pushes out whenever it suits him. It is important to keep up with it so you know what's going on, but that's not what I mean by know your platform. Know your platform, I mean, you need to know which platform is yours, which platform do you find your ideal client? Where do they hang out? Where do you find the most engagement with them? And that will depend on who your ideal client is, obviously. So you need to know who your ideal client is and which platform. You need to know their profile, their likes, where they hang out. So you that would be your platform or platforms. So you do not necessarily have to be on every social media platform. If you can and it helps your business, great. Obviously, that will increase your brand's online footprint, and we always want that. But it's not necessarily going to generate leads or engagement or increase your brand's credibility if your ideal client is not hanging out on that platform. So when I say know your platform, that's what I mean is first of all, know is my ideal client always on Facebook or are they on LinkedIn or TikTok or Instagram? Know which platforms they are on and focus on those platforms and let everything else be secondary because you want to be in your marketplace where you can actually connect and engage with your ideal client and actually have opportunity to make an offer, right? So that's what I mean by knowing your platform. You do not have to be on every social media platform. You do not. If you want to maintain a presence on all of them, great. If you can afford to or you have the time. But when it comes to actually growing your credibility, getting in front of your ideal client, and achieving whatever goal you set yourself, if it's lead generation or driving traffic to your website, then make sure you know which platform works the best for you or which two platforms work the best for you. And then focus on those platforms and shine, let your brand shine on those platforms and grow your credibility. Take time to grow your credibility on those platforms. Take time to grow your community, your audience, your reach on those platforms, build on those platforms. And that's what I meant by know your platform. And not necessarily, but I will say it again, not necessarily knowing if you find out that your platform is LinkedIn, for example, not necessarily knowing all the behind the scenes of how LinkedIn works. Um, uh, but when you know that you need to be on LinkedIn, obviously you want to also learn how LinkedIn works. For example, was it last week? Maybe a couple weeks ago, sometime actually last month, I believe in May, LinkedIn, they changed the way, for me, a lot of my ideal clients are on LinkedIn. And LinkedIn, they changed a few things on LinkedIn where they limited how many connections or you can make in a certain period of time, and they put a limit on that. And everybody, even well, we all know Facebook makes changes all the time. But all the platforms are starting to tighten up and trying to um, add new rules, and maybe they're not as crazy as Facebook in how often they change the rules, but everyone. So yes, you need to keep up with those changes every time your ideal platform or where your platform, every time there's a change that might affect you, you need to keep up with that. But you don't necessarily have to know if there are a million groups on LinkedIn, or how Mark Zuckerberg writes his algorithm. You need to keep up with when when the algorithm changes and what the new system he's doing works, and how it works and how it affects you. But you don't need to be behind the scenes to see how he writes it. So that's what I mean by know your platform. Know where your ideal client hangs out, and make sure that you're hanging out there and that you're connecting with them and engaging them and taking time to build your credibility, to build your audience, and to grow your business on those platforms. So that's number one. I said three things I'm going to share, but that's number one that I've been working on for myself, and I've been encouraging my clients to work on too. Not to spread yourself thin, but focus on where your ideal client hangs out, and decide which platforms you're getting the most engagement from, and focus on those platforms. And then the second thing that I'm going to say is, and this one actually, I'm going to point four fingers at me too. But consistency. Be consistent. Um, we face challenges. I personally, the last few months and weeks, I have um, personal reasons where I have not been as consistent as I typically would be. But it is key that as much as you can, and as much as it's in your power to, that you stay consistent. Be consistent. And not just the consistency in pushing out content, posting content, and connecting with people, and whatever you're doing, to be consistent with that, but also, and here's what I'm working on for myself, is the predictability, being predictable. And that's why I'm starting to set myself actual, what's the word? Nah, what's the word I'm looking for? I actually schedules. I actually put my some of my events on schedules now. Whereas last year I was pretty predictable and consistent without having to do that. But this year, just with personal reasons and stuff, and practicing what I've been preaching for months and years with the time blocking, now I'm consciously blocking off time, because last year it was easy for me to get it done without actually putting it on a schedule, because my routine was pretty set. Um, this year, there has been so many things happening with me and family behind the scenes where my routines are everywhere. So now I am more than ever before practicing time blocking and actually setting schedules to help keep me predictable and consistent. So do what you need to do to stay consistent and predictable to your audience, where they know that, okay, a couple times a week Marilyn's gonna do a live, and one live's gonna be a training, and one's gonna be talking about group dynamics and what's happening in the group, or just however you set it up, if you have a group, or if you're on Instagram, however you have your virtual presence scheduled. Make sure, as much as it's in your power to, that you stay consistent and that you stay predictable, and it will help engage your audience the more. It will help. Um, Honestly, it will help. And I do, like I said at the beginning, see a marked difference when you're consistent and predictable. The engagement rate, I mean, there's nothing like consistency, not even just with your brand. For those of us who are parents, you know that with your kids, when it comes to discipline and things like that, consistency always, even if you think you're not seeing results at first, you you have to stay consistent until you push through to see that change in behavior that you're looking for in your kid. And so whatever it is, consistency is key. And I last year I said, I don't believe I've posted that in the group this year at all, but I last year I talked a lot about how if content is king, consistency is queen. And so if you take anything away from this live today, take that with you. Content is king, consistency is queen. And part one of this training, when we talked about being intentional and setting goals, we talked about your content, where you, when you set your goals, depending on what you're trying to achieve, your content will follow suit. So You need to know what you're trying to achieve in order to know what kind of content to put out, what kind of content to put on your website, on your social media pages, and all that. So, content is king, consistency is queen. And I'll stress once more, not just being consistent, but being predictable about it as much as it's in your power. Okay. And the third thing I'm going to say is research. Take some time to do research depending on which platform you're on. Learn that platform. Um, Take a look around, see what people who are getting great engagement are doing, what works. Learn the platform, do some research, and use hashtags. That's also one that I've always had people come to me where, um, but I am learning that regardless of that, I am getting into using hashtag myself as well. Use hashtags. Um, the hashtags are key for growing your audience, engaging people. Now, do not overuse hashtag. There is such a thing as overuse of hashtag, but actually take time to do research and see what works depending on your niche and what you're trying to achieve. Take time to do research, which hashtags work the best, and be consistent in using relevant hashtags to help with your reach. Do not overuse hashtags. I do see quite a bit where um, people overuse the hashtag, and actually that will work against you. But when you research and use the right hashtags and use them in a relevant manner, it actually it will grow your reach. And one reason you want that is because when it comes to networking, when you're on social media, yes, you want to generate leads, you want to drive traffic to your website, you want to achieve so many things, you want to sell a product, whatever goal you set yourself for being on social media. um, I like to think, I firmly believe that a side benefit of being on social media, some people actually, that's their main reason for being on social media. For me, it's a side benefit, um, is networking. Networking. And when you use hashtags and expand your reach, um, it helps to increase your community, so to speak, where your direct audience, you connect with them, and also you're networking in an indirect way with their connections in an indirect way. And so it helps to expand your online footprint, like I like to call it. It helps to grow your online footprint and expand your online footprint. So that's the number three key thing that I wanted to share is using hashtag. It will increase the return on your investment, whether it is monetary investment or fi- time investment, whatever investments you're investing or putting into your business or into your time online or on your social media platforms, you want to see a good return on that investment. So hashtags do definitely help to increase your ROI or return on investment or radius of influence or whatever you like to call it. It helps you also when you're growing your reach. That way, it will actually help you stand out from the competition. And that's why I say do not overuse it and put thought into which hashtags you use. It will help you um, not only engage with your followers, like I said, but the potential for engaging with your followers is also there. And that's what I mean by the side benefit of the networking, where you reach more people, and you get to actually grow your reach. But the key one is that you want to stand out, and you want to stand out with quality. And that's why I was quick to say do not overuse the hashtag, and make sure you research and use the relevant ones, the one that actually bring you quality followers. So take the time, invest time to do that. And before I stop, I'm going to real quickly run through the three key things that I said. Um, helping to actually execute once we have the goal set in place and say, okay, I'm on social media to sell my product or to drive traffic to my website, or generate leads, or to grow my credibility and establish my expertise. Once you decide what your key goals for being on social media is, then you have to decide what is my most beneficial and engaged platform. And then that's number one key thing to do to help you actually successfully execute that goal that you set yourself, being very intentional about our use of social media. So make sure that you know your ideal platform, where your clients hang out, where the kind of people you want to engage hang out. And then make sure that you're consistent and predictable. Remember predictability. Remember, if content is king, consistency is queen. Okay, so that's number two. And number three is take time to do your research. Research your ideal client profile, what kind of words resonate with them, what kind of language they speak, how would they um, say something, for example, if you wrote down a sentence and you brought a medical doctor, a pediatrician, for example, the way they would process a statement would be vastly different from the way structural engineer would process it. So know what kind of keywords and language resonates with your ideal client. And when you research and use the hashtags, because you want to be relevant and you don't want to, you want to stand out and you want quality followers. And that's basically what I wanted to share in part two of this being very intentional and setting goals and um, how to execute those goals and actually achieve something tangible using social media as a marketing tool. Go ahead, like I said, let me know who you are, connect in the comments. I will go back. I'm actually doing this live on my phone. So I will go back and check the comments. If you have any questions, if you need any guidance, any help, whatever, just post in the comments and I will be more than happy to connect. And I hope that your weekend goes great, that the rest of your Friday goes great. And I look forward to seeing you here again sometime soon. Have yourself a most wonderful evening.